Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on this Clubhouse talk. We are super excited to have you here with us for this conversation, which is what is the meaning of divorce and what are you looking for? Really good question. And I'm sure that the answer is going to differ for each and every single one of you because divorce, however, it has a meaning that you're no longer married, you're splitting apart for an individual, though, it means something different. So, for example, for me, it equated to freedom, it equated to independence, it equated to no longer being stuck in a model of family unit that really wasn't working for me at that time. And then as I evolved with time, and like I would say within the next like maybe 6 to 8 years later, it turned out to be more about my freedom to discover myself. And I never even realized, and I really never knew when I was married that I really didn't even understand myself. I didn't even know like a tiny fraction of myself that I know right now. And like I always say, we don't know how to marry, and we certainly don't know how to divorce either. And that is probably one of the biggest pain points that we have is that when we walk into marriage, we really don't even understand ourselves as individuals. So we think that we're going for, what tradition and custom says that getting married, the white picket fence, the kids, the family, having a good job, everything, like, talking about all the material things that you're going to have. But it doesn't really talk about you as an individual and how you're going to change and evolve over time. So for me, my divorce was really a sense of freedom, a sense of needing to set free from the confinement of where I was and where I felt that I was not feeling, good about myself, or not feeling that it was in alignment with who I was and where I wanted to go in my future. And so for me, divorce was really all about, finding myself again in a structure that made sense for me. Over time, I would say that I was married about 7 years plus, I knew my ex for about a year and a half. So I would say like maybe 8 years total. I completely changed, and I knew that the person that I was married to was not going to be the person who was going to be able to provide for me the things that I was looking for. So for me, it was a lot of change in myself and an understanding that in order for me to get to where I want to be, in order for me to achieve my goals in life and where I really want to take my life and the kind of family unit that I want, I would no longer need or want to be married anymore. So that was my story. That's what took me onto my journey. But every single one of us has a different journey, and divorce means something different to each and every one of us. And it's important to hear the different perspectives that you will have access to today. And the reason is because it's important to understand why you're getting divorced. Why are you thinking about it? What is your main purpose? Where do you want to take your life? What is it that you want to do with yourself that you feel you cannot do as a married couple right now? And when you have a very clear why, it is so much easier for you to have a clear focus as to where you're going. So we're going to listen and hear out some thoughts and opinions of some of our other coaches today who are part of the Divorce by Rose community, and hear what their thoughts are on divorce for themselves or from their experiences as a coach. So we're going to go first to Dr. Juliet Marciano. If you want to go ahead and share your thoughts with us.
Thanks, Ravit. Just want to quickly introduce myself. I'm Dr. Juliet Marciano. I'm a mindset coach for parents. I'm a certified parent coach, a retired pediatrician, and a single parent of 4 young adults. And I work with parents around the world who are facing family challenges such as divorce, parenting a child with a physical, mental, behavioral, emotional, or learning difference. And when I work with parents, I help them shift their mindset, gather the information, and develop the skills they need to reclaim the joy of parenting in a very challenging time, and then be able to make empowered decisions so that they can lead their family to thrive. When I look at this question, what is the meaning of divorce? First, I do want to clarify the issue of divorce. For me, when I work with parents, I don't just work with so-called legally married people who are divorcing in a let's say conventional for, you know, whatever used to be more of a conventional relationship. So I also work with parents who have never been married, but they're in a committed relationship with children. I work with relationships where there's two men and two women. I work with people who have not even been in a long-term committed relationship, but somehow there is a child um, in that union, and that they, at least one of them, wants to work on parenting that child in uh, a more positive way after that relationship ends. And then looking at the other aspect of what is the meaning of divorce for each individual, I do um, agree with Ravit that most people, when they go into a relationship, a committed relationship like divorce, they really don't have a very good idea of who they are. And even if you do have an idea of who you are, you don't necessarily have an idea of who you are in this partnership with this other person. You don't necessarily have an idea of who they are, even if they have an idea of who they are. Once you are in relationship together, that is the opportunity to awaken in each of you areas that might need to be explored, triggers that you have from your past that have not come up before, challenges that you're facing because of society and culture. And that shows up in a relationship with anybody. So in a committed romantic partnership, you have many opportunities to awaken, to learn more about yourself. Parenting is also another incredible opportunity to learn about yourself in that way. What does that mean, though? It means when you're in these relationships and you promise to be together for life and to love each other forever, that does not always work out. Now, sometimes the two of you can grow together and explore each other together and stay in that kind of relationship, even though it might change and evolve over time. But sometimes there comes a point where your time with that other person in that romantic partnership has come to a natural end. Divorce doesn't always have to be brutal, and it doesn't always have to be um, one person against the other. Sometimes it really can be a cooperative and mutual understanding that this relationship has gone as far as it can go. We now are ending this part of our relationship, or this aspect of our relationship, or this time in our relationship, and now we're entering into something new. And even if you end that relationship, if you have children, that partner is always part of your life. Even if they disappear and you never see them again, they do have a presence in your children's lives, in their imaginations, in the stories, and in the representations that you give to them. So many people think that they will get divorced and that they'll never have to deal with that person again. And the truth of the matter is, you will always have to deal with that person in some way. And I think it's very important for people to realize that, because divorce offers you as an individual this incredible opportunity to learn about yourself, rediscover who you are, or discover who you are for the first time, redefine yourself and your family. And those are wonderful things. But we also need to realize that um, if you, even if you're escaping, say, a um, violent or abusive relationship, there's still aspects of that relationship that continues within you and within your parent-child dynamic. So what I'm saying is, even though divorce can offer you great opportunities, you still have to work through some of the issues that got you to that place. And don't be surprised, and don't beat up on yourself if that happens. And don't be necessarily disappointed. That is all part of the process. So many people think they're going to divorce and end the quote bad stuff, but they really have to work through it until they can get to the other side of what's waiting for them after divorce. This is Juliet, and I'm out.
Great advice. Thank you, Juliet. Definitely agree on everything you mentioned, because there are so many ways to look at divorce, and it means so many things depending on what stage you're at in your divorce, that it's really important to look at, all the different areas of your life, and really understand what is divorce to you, to your children. Where do you want to be? What legacy do you want to leave behind? These are all important questions to ask yourself, and these are conversations that we have in Divorce by Rose. So thank you for that. We're going to go next to Farah Ali. So what are your thoughts and perspectives on this question? What is the meaning of divorce?
Hi, everyone. Let me take a second to introduce myself. My name is Farah Ali, and I am a certified relationship coach, and I have a master's in health science from Johns Hopkins. I used to work in humanitarian work. I've been all over the world. And I now am a select coach in the Divorce by Rose community, where I'm doing a course that involves helping people kind of sort through overwhelm and think about, especially that when to end it, when to stay question that people might have. And in terms of what divorce means to you, I think that that's a highly individualized thing, like so much of divorce. And when I think about that for myself, having not been divorced, I've been single a very long time, and I am partnered with somebody who was divorced. And then I understand that, it is that opportunity to get that relationship that you actually deserve and maybe didn't have. But like Juliet said, I think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done to process and work through, what happened, who am I, how did I get here, and where do I want to go from here. And so divorce has a meaning for all of those things, like how did you define yourself in your relationship, how did you define yourself as an individual in that relationship and as part of a couple in that relationship, what were the parts that weren't working for you, and where did all of that kind of patterning come from? Did it just kind of happen overnight? What part did you play in it? What would you like to do moving forward? And what would it take to get there? And maybe even looking at what other places in your life that's happening, because how you do anything is how you do everything. And just on the personal side, one of the reasons I was single for a long time is my parents had a marriage that I didn't want to replicate. And what happened was, I thought subconsciously, obviously, that it would be better to be single than by mistakenly fall into the kind of things my parents were doing. And so I felt like I was picking people who were safe, but they weren't really people I wanted to be with long term. And it was all happening under the surface. Lots of frustration around that. Luckily, that's not true for me anymore. But the thing is, I know from that, when I started doing my own work on what was going on in my life in other areas, all those issues that I thought I would avoid by not replicating my parents' marriage were showing up in other areas of my life. I'd internalized what I had learned, and they were just showing up in other places. So just to say, you're going to have to be gentle with yourself, but there's probably other areas in your life where you're going to have to clean up house, and it's definitely possible to do. There's a lot of great coaches in the Divorce by Rose community. There's a lot of great advice, even if you just come on the app and ask questions and listen and follow people. So that would be a great starting point, but one-on-one coaching is really great. And that is the kind of exploration that a lot of us do very well, myself included. So I think I'll just end here. I'm done speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, Farah. Thank you so much for that. And we're going to go next to Linda Coyne, who's another one of our coaches in Divorce by Rose. And what are your thoughts and perspectives on divorce?
Thank you very much. And thanks, coaches. You've been given a lot of great information, and I can tell you that we are so invested in helping you because we've walked paths that we don't want you to walk through alone. We want to be that sounding board for you and help you. I am a divorce coach who helps people regain their personal power to look inside for their healing. It's counterintuitive, but in my divorce, I was like, if he would have stopped cheating, if he would have done that. But really, when I started to heal was when I did the inner work on myself. And I agree with Ravit when they say we don't know how to marry, we don't know how to divorce. When I was getting married, we also did pre-Cana stuff. And I remember in one of the times, they were talking about kids, and they're like, oh, we'll figure that out when the time comes. And they're just so enamored. And so you kind of throw out maybe the work that you need to do. And on the other side, like divorce, if you can't be civil, it's so charged you can't do it well. So you have these kind of different things. I was with my ex for 36 years. So it was a long time. In my experience, it was a very blindside, and I divorced him abruptly. So that was difficult. But for me, it was not living the lie. And in the process, I started discovering myself, like Ravit said. I was like, oh my God, I'm not letting my light shine. I'm not showing up as the authentic me. And once I got divorced, I was retrospectively, I couldn't realize. It was like amazing how much. And once I regained my personal power, it got stronger and stronger. So when you do that inner work, it's like exercising your muscles. You get that emotional health and the emotional strength, and that spans to every area of your life. You become stronger in all things. You make better decisions. You live life better. You live life more congruently with who you are. So I'm not saying, get divorced or not. I am saying do the work that the other coaches are saying, whether you stay or not, because once you really live that, your true authentic self with your personal power, you'll see life really changes for the better. And I'm Linda. That's out.
Thank you so much. You guys got a really great overview of, 4 different perspectives of divorce. And, I invite you guys to join in on the conversation in Divorce by Rose, where we dive deeper into these questions and these thoughts. Here on Clubhouse, we're here for half an hour daily, just to give you that boost of confidence and give you that energy that you need to get through your day and to teach you something new, because it's very important that you're always learning, evolving, and growing. You need to constantly transform yourself from who you were to who you want to be in order to really feel at ease with this new life transition. Whether you decide, to separate today or separate in 6 months from now, it really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you need to understand yourself. And I think that the advices and recommendations and different scenarios that you were given today are definitely going to help you start that. So if you would like to have access to this recording, or if you know someone who could really take advantage of this information that we shared today, then make sure that they send me a message here on Clubhouse, or send me a message on Instagram. And send me the message with DBR, and then I'll send them a free access to the app, so that they can go in and have access to this recording as well. So if you would like to have access as well, same thing, send me a message with DBR, no questions asked. You have free access as a member. And you'll also get access to our signature course, which is the 5 key strategies to avoiding a nasty divorce, which is an unbelievable course, loaded with plenty of information that you probably wouldn't have even thought of right now. And you'll only think of like after the fact, after, the scars have been showing in your mind, body, or soul. So if there are any questions, we're going to take questions now. So do raise your hands if you have any questions. You can always, if you feel more comfortable, to send me a message in the back channel. You could definitely do that, and then I could just read it out without mentioning your name. That's always an option. Otherwise, if you join us in Divorce by Rose, because you're anonymous, so you just need to register with a fake first name and last name in order to remain anonymous. You could always go in there and ask us questions to any one of us. So make sure you're following me. Make sure you're following any of the coaches that you feel that you enjoyed the information they shared with you today. And if you'd like more information from them, make sure that you're setting the bell to always, so that you can always receive notifications every time we're opening a room. So if there are no other questions, then I'm going to thank the coaches for being here with us today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here with us today. And remember that we are always meeting Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern time for about half an hour or so. We hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead, and we'll see you all next week. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.